Good morning.
Good morning, how are you?
Okay.
All right, so it finally stopped raining, the sun came out,
Yeah.
and I think we can go ahead and primer this front air deflector, wind deflector. So I'm mixing this up.
So what is this?
Oh, this is epoxy primer. Now, this is the best primer that you can get because it seals and doesn't allow moisture to penetrate into the metal. Of course, it's a little bit harder to work with if you have to do any kind of body work to it and stuff, because when you put the sandpaper to this thing, it just clogs up like if you have some kind of plastic or something. Now, if you've seen the kitchen counters and you mix this stuff and it dries hard and clear, well, this is basically the same thing except that it has a gray pigment to it. Yeah. Now, this stuff is not cheap, but you know, just like anything else, if you want quality, you have to pay for it because, well, that's just the way it is. I don't know if the ingredients are more expensive or what, but it's certainly more expensive. This is $150 per gallon.
All right.
Now, we're not going to primer the whole bus right now. Right now, what we're going to do, what we're going to use this gallon for, is we're going to primer the rack for the solar panels, and we're going to primer the cap that goes, the wind deflector that goes in the front. And then after we do this and let it dry and everything, in the meantime we'll be working on the front part of it on the roof and prep it for primer. And as you can see, it's pretty thick.
Yeah.
So we will primer the front part of the roof, at which time we will go ahead and rivet the front wind deflector there, and then we'll continue on back and primer, well, sand and prep for primer all the way to the back. After that, we will primer the rest of the roof. Now, after we have sanded and everything and we've primed, then we're going to take the water hose and make sure that there's no leaks. Oh, well, actually, we're going to put the water hose to it one time before we primer because we have to wash all the stuff that's up there. And then after it dries, then we'll primer, and then afterwards we'll put the hose to it again just to make sure that we don't find any leaks. And then after that primer dries and it's sat there for a day or two, then we're gonna go ahead and put the rack up there, and we'll secure it to the brackets. Then we'll take an air hose this whole thing off to get all the metal shavings off, and then we will spray the ceramic insulation. And after it's sat for 4 or 5 days, or maybe even a week, then we'll go ahead and do the solar panels.
Okay.
But prior to that, I just remembered, we have to drill a couple of holes on the other side so we can drop the solar panel wires down. So we will go ahead and run those all the way down to the compartment, but we will leave them just sticking out of the, I don't know what they're called, they're little entrance things. You put them in there, and it has a water compression fitting there so that the water doesn't go in. And then we'll just leave them sticking out a little bit here And then after the primer and all the ceramic insulation and stuff, and we put the panels up there, then we can go ahead and hook those up to the we can hook them up to the thing there, to the solar panels. But we need to make sure that these ceramic insulation cures. The curing time is about 3 days. But I want to give it, you know, at least twice the amount to make sure that it's 100%. Because that, and I know I keep saying this, but that ceramic insulation spray is not cheap. And it's very good stuff, and only the luxury coach conversion places use it because it's very expensive. But because these coach conversions charge 2-3 million for their coaches, they can afford to to spend that kind of money on the insulation. Now, there is a company, don't get me the line, it's either Kansas or Oklahoma, that makes these RVs. They're fifth wheels or travel trailers or something. They're not motorhomes, but some kind of RV. They spray the inside, and of course that takes quite a bit of ceramic insulation, so it's not cheap, but it's the best insulation you can get because it supports about an average temperature of about 500 degrees. So if right now in the dead of summer, if you put your hand on that metal, it'll hurt because it's super hot. But if you spray this thing on there, you can put your hand on there and it's no problem. Now they do make this ceramic insulation in sheets of it looks like a fiberglass cardboard looking stuff, and you can actually take a sheet of that. It's only like 1/8 of an inch. You can take one, put it there, put your hand, put a torch to it. It'll feel warm, but it won't be hot. So it's pretty impressive stuff. But again, it's not cheap. Now that type of insulation you can only use on the inside. You can't put it on the roof because it is a sheet of something, you know, that it comes in a roll, and it's about I don't know how many feet it is, but it's about 400 or 500 per roll, and but it's good stuff. Now, I think that I would rather spend the money up front than to be out there in the middle of a heat blast or a cold winter or something and be either cooking or freezing and say, I wish I would have done it. You know, so I'd rather do it right, and I'd rather spend the money up front and you know, hope for the best. But anyway, that's what we're gonna do, and we'll update you as we go.
Okay.
All right. Okay, so it's been 15 minutes, a little bit over 15 minutes, and the paint has flashed. Now, flashing is a little bit different from curing. Curing is completely hard and it's completely dry. Flashing is the time that it takes for the solvent in the paint to evaporate out of the paint. If you put a second coat on top of the solvent, it could actually affect the second coat and damage it, and then it won't sit right. So
Okay.
all we're looking for is the appearance of it being dry, and that means that the solvent has evaporated, and you can go ahead and put in a second coat. So that's what I'm going to do now.
Okay.
Now, if you've never painted, there's several things that'll be a little hard for you. One is getting it through your head that the better prep you do, the better your paint job is going to look. And then probably another thing that's hard for you, that will be hard for you, because since you're not used to it, you have to think about it. And that is, when you're coming across this way, you have to let go of your trigger at this end and at this end, so the spray doesn't stop all of a sudden and develop a line. So you let go as you're coming to the end. And the other thing is making sure that you don't move so fast that you don't lay down enough paint. But as you start spraying, you will see how much paint you're putting down. Now, the other thing is, you know, it takes a little bit of practice, but the other thing is you have to make sure that you overlap a lot. You might want to overlap as much as 70%. That means that you're spraying a small amount of new area, which is like 30% new, every time you go back and forth. Because if you don't have enough overlap, then what happens is you'll have areas that will be dry. So you want to make sure that you're spraying wet on wet. And this way there's no dry areas in between. So if you look, everything looks like one solid sheet. And that's the idea. Because if you spray here and then you spray here, you're going to have a dry area here and a dry area. Every time your spray goes like this, you're going to have a wet area. So you want to spray and then come back and do a big overlap on it so it stays wet. So that nowhere in there are you going to have a streak of dry paint. So you want to make sure that you have, you know, I guess minimum 50%, but 70% is probably a lot better. 60-70%. Yeah, so there it is. So now we're gonna wait 15 minutes for this thing to flash, and then we're gonna give it a little bit of extra time because we're gonna take this once it's not tacky, and we're going to flip it up and put it here. We're going to put it up here. And the reason I'm going to do that is because we're going to spray the top while it's sitting here, and then when it's done, it'll sit there until tomorrow.
Okay.
And then we'll come back and start on this rack here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Looking good.
Yeah, looks good. Here, let me put the rest of the painting here.
Mm-hmm.
We did one coat, and that's all we're gonna do on this is one coat, because this is actually the bottom sitting up there. So when we flip it over, we're also gonna do one coat, because you're gonna have the solar panels on top of that, and it'll be protected anyway. And it's only gonna have primer, it's not gonna have actual paint. So one coat is enough for this. All right. Okay guys, so there it is. We went ahead and primered this other side, gave it 2 coats. We did this frame here, and if you can look right here in this corner, I was shy that much paint, and I didn't want to mix more just to get that corner, which is okay. Thank you. It's okay. Once we put it up there, it's gonna take the couple of coats of base paint, and then it'll have the clear on top of that. So yeah, it'll be okay. Yeah. So anyway, there it is. We're gonna leave it for tomorrow. It should be nice and dry by tomorrow. And then tomorrow we're gonna work on this here. It's hard to see, but there are some right in there. There are a couple of little screws that broke off, so I need to get them off so we can put this frame back in there, and the one that's up there on top. And then tomorrow I'll sand this down, and then once this is done and all the screws are retapped over here, then we can try to mount this thing here so we can close it. And once we close this, then we can turn the bus around so that the front end is here, and even if it rains, it'll be underneath here where we can actually work on the wind deflector in the front. So I think it'll be a little bit better, because let me tell you, working on that thing, sticking out there in the sun, this metal gets hot. So yeah, so we need to concentrate on this so we can put that cover on here, and then we can turn the bus around. Yeah, we'll see how that goes. All right guys, we'll see you tomorrow.
Thanks for watching.
ขอบคุณเจ้า
See you next time.
แล้วปะกันแฮมไมนะเจ้า
See you.
บ๊ายบาย